Let's talk grimoires. Should you make one? What are they for? Is it the right time in your practice for you to start collecting that kind of information and putting it down for posterity's sake? Hey there, I'm Hexa and this is Natural Witchery, and I just want to talk about this subject because I think that we really romanticize the grimoire and everybody kind of wants to make one. You want to watch them being made, you want to see this beautiful thing. But is it really the right time for you to be doing it? And is it right for who you are? I'm going to share with you the ways in which my grimoire practice has changed over the years. I'm going to show you a little bit of my grimoires that I have. I'm going to talk about picking the right kind of book for your grimoire. And I'm going to share some resources for creating your grimoire and resources that may even replace the idea of you wanting to make a grimoire. The dream of the grimoire, wow, where does it come from? Well, I mean, we see shows and we read about them and they're just so romantic. This idea of having this book that's just beautiful, that's scripted perfectly with no mistakes and filled with all the magical secrets of the world that we have gathered ourselves. Oh my goodness. So I've started quite a few grimoires and then just trashed them. I've gotten to this point where I thought, this is old information, I don't really believe this, or this didn't turn out perfect, or I just didn't get back to them. Quick little story here. I homeschooled for many, many years, and every year over the summer, I would research new curriculums that I wanted to do with my kids. And I would always find these curriculums that were just amazing. And I thought, oh my goodness, the learning experience that I could create for my children if I could do this. And what I found over the years was that there were certain types of curriculum that I was just never going to do. I like hands-on stuff, but I am not going to build an entire papier-mâché mountain over a 6-week period that I add to while doing 72 different components. I just wasn't that person. And so one of the things to think about when creating a grimoire is being honest about what type of person you are. My friend Kara over at Pagan Crafting, you can check out her channel if you don't know about it, just loves crafting. She lives for crafting. She lives to do projects like this. And so she just can't wait to sit down and do things like this. Some of us just aren't wired that way. We're not super crafty. Maybe we're more multimedia focused. Maybe we are just people that want to look things up. Maybe we just like things super orderly with an index in them. So I think like being honest with what you're capable of is really important before you sit down to create a grimoire, or you're going to do what I've done, which is start them and then just quit because they're not exactly what you want them to be. The other thing I want to say is perfect just isn't real. It just isn't. I have some pages in my books that are super perfect because I've done them all in pencil first and then done them over, but I have very few of them. And the truth is that I want to sit down at my grimoire and I want to add things artistically that are about my journey and the things that I'm interested in. And I want it to be like a piece of art. So for me, it's about collecting pieces that I like and then putting them together. And, you know, when the time comes, being able to put those things together and create something that feels like art therapy to me. Maybe for some of you, you really want to be able to create something that is about your correspondences. Or maybe some of you want to have a running spell book. If you're going to do a running spell book, then I would tell you, if you're just using rote spells out of some book, then you could just make a reference book that tells you go to this book on this page. Or you can take from your book of shadows, or my book of shadows, I should say, is kind of a diary that I have that I keep where I write down all of the different things that I'm doing, the spells that I'm working, and then their results. Now, I don't do a ton of formal spellcraft. My natural witchery primarily comes out of divination and working with the earth and being present in my practice and meditation and journeying. So I don't do a ton of spells. Spells are sort of a last ditch effort for me, or something that I do when I'm really trying to focus my mind and my power in a way that helps me to kind of mark the moment. Maybe some of you are like super into spells, but my point is, I would take from my book of shadows the spells that really worked and write them down formally in a spell book. Let's talk a little bit about what type of book you might want to use. So there are so many cool books out there. There's ones on Etsy that you can buy that are so beautiful, and they have like these tattered pages on the side. They're gorgeous, and they look like everything that I think of Book of Shadows should look like. But let me tell you, If you're gonna bother to do something for posterity's sake, something that you want to last, you better get acid-free paper. And a lot of those books are not acid-free paper. They're just like cool craft paper, and they're just gonna fade and die over time. So after all of the years of doing this, I finally settled on this right here. I love that I have this to keep it closed so that it doesn't move around. But one of the things that I think is really important is that I have a book that is watercolor paper, or paper that can take inks and dyes and paints, because I like to paint or use paint markers on here. The other thing that I think is really important that I have used is these are perforated pages on the edge, and that allows me to tear out pages when it starts getting thick so that the book will lay down. So like if I'm going to be pasting a bunch of stuff on, I might remove the next couple pages on there. And so I think perforated pages are nice, or I can be like, this was terrible. I don't like this. It turned out horribly, and I'm taking it out. Also, you'll want to think about the different sizes. Like I got this when I was in Europe, so it's kind of special to me that way. I got this in Spain. It's nothing really special. It's just like a paper journal book, you know, that you can put stuff in. But I loved the size of it. It's actually not paper sized. It's a little bit smaller. So think about a size that works well, like these giant tomes that we see on like Etsy for sale or at different places or in movies. Well, that's really cool, but working on that's really hard. Using it is really hard. Looking at it is just, you know, ridiculous thumbing through something that's ginormous. What kind of crafter are you? Are you going to be painting? Are you going to be gluing? Are you going to be using watercolors or markers? Get the type of paper that's going to stand up and make sure it's acid free. Oh my, I'm sitting here editing this video and I realized I didn't include other books. Like you could do a 3-ring binder. For some of you, you're going to love that. You can even use page protectors with a 3-ring binder if that's something that you're into. The other thing you can do is you could do this totally virtual online. You could do it on Canva. And honestly, doing something like that on Canva that you're making these documents and creating, you could then actually have those eventually professionally printed into a book if that's something that you're interested in. I'm jumping in here really quickly to let you know that on December 15th, I'm having a free workshop called Claiming the New Year. You can sign up for free by using the link down below. We're gonna do magical planning. It's gonna be lots of fun. There's gonna be time to do divination, meditation, reflection, and also get together and get to know each other. So join the fun by clicking that link down below and signing up for free. Next up, let's talk organization. I have something really cool here that I wanna share with you that has really been a game changer for me. I have so many bibs and bobs that I have collected over the years, and they used to just keep them in here and they would get crushed and wrinkled. But now I have this great wheat straw folder. It's expanding file folder. I love that it's eco-friendly. It has this really cool tab on the top so you can hang it in a file cabinet if you wanted to, or just keep it regular. Now I have begun the task of sorting all of these different things that I have collected into different file folders to keep them nice and neat. I'm able to label them with the really nice labels that they've given, and it's keeping everything so easy to grab and put in my book when I'm ready. I've got a special sale link to this particular folder down below if you're interested in something like this to kind of bring your grimoire collection to an organized new level that puts you ready to create whenever you feel the go. Are you ready to make a grimoire? Well, let me just put forth these questions to you. Are you practicing right now? Are you regularly doing spell work? If you're not regularly doing spell work and you don't feel like you're in a groove with your practice, then I would say you probably just need to make a book of shadows, which is a running diary of your magical practice, whether it's journeying or meditation or divination or the spells that you're trying. Like just doing that can be really great. And again, not making it a thing, just jotting down what you're learning about yourself. If you're not at the place where you're ready to, put something down for posterity's sake, then don't put that pressure on yourself, because I gotta tell you, I just find that the more pressure I put on myself to make the perfect book, the more it seems to elude me, and I don't do it because perfection is never attainable. Now, our own personal excellence, that's attainable. I would say, Instead of focusing on making a grimoire if you're at the beginning of your practice, I would say get a book of shadows. Just get a good old journal and journal what's going on and journal your results and allow yourself just to relax into it. You can always take what you learn from there and transfer it later if it's something that really works really, really well. Let me just say there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. There are tons of great resource books out there, and I'm going to share a few of them with you. Some of the places that you can get really good information, again, is from yourself. Your own personal gnosis is the best because that is what's working in you and through you. But you can always try other people's things. And so I have some correspondence books I want to share with you, and then a grimoire book that I really appreciate. And I want to talk a little bit about these books and what they've meant to me and how I've actually used them to sort of keep you from I just want you to avoid buying things that you don't need to buy, because I have a book in here that I don't really use. And so I want to share that with you as well. Book number 1, and this is the type of stuff that I wouldn't put in a grimoire, because there are books out here that are so great, that have done such an amazing job that, you don't want to write all this stuff down. You just want to have good books like this. This is Secrets, Signs, and Symbols by Andel Nosdar. Of course, you want to incorporate signs and symbols into your work, and you are going to find that this is the book that has it all. I mean, it's set up in different sections, and it's got every possible symbol. I mean, I just can't think of a symbol that I've looked for that hasn't been in here. So part 1 is the signs, symbols of magic and mystery. Part 2 is fauna, so this is the animal realm. Part 3 is concealed wisdom of the plant kingdom. Part 4, flowers of the underworld, minerals, metals, and gems. Plant 5, sacred geometry and places of pilgrimage. Part 6, the bait that attracts the mysterious. Part 7, sacred sounds, secret signs, letters, and language. Part 8, the body of the sacred map. 9, rites and rituals, customs and observances. 10, the nature of the divine. The full name of this is the Elemental Encyclopedia of Secrets, Signs, and Symbols, the ultimate guide from alchemy to the zodiac, A to Z there, by Andel Nosdar. I hope I'm saying that right. Again, why reinvent the wheel when this amazing book is available? Next up on the list is another reference book that I use. It's an oldie but a goodie, which is Blackthorn's Botanical Magic. The subtitle on this is The Green Witch's Guide to Essential Oils for Spellcraft, Ritual, and Healing by Amy Blackthorn. I really enjoy Amy Blackthorn and the recipes that she has in here. So she's got all sorts of recipes on using essential oils and plants. And then it's got, it outlines different herbs, and it's got like their scientific name, their botanical family, their origin, source of plants, oil, evaporation. So it tells like the way it smells. So it says mild note, scent description, scent impact, magical correspondences, and then all these magical correspondences down here. Application, the element, the day of the week that it's associated with, magical uses, the planet it's associated with, the astrological sign, suggested crystal, and deity. And then it even has warnings down here for different things. So this book, I mean, I could see if I had favorite recipes from here, hand copying them into a book, again, for posterity's sake. One thing that's really nice about this is that it has an index. And I really appreciate that, because I can look up different things if I want to know about peace or protection, purification. It's really great. It's got a little bit of glossary of magical terms. It's got appendix in here. It does have a bibliography. It's got some appendix charts back here, which are kind of cool. Like this one is oils to avoid during pregnancy. This book, Blackthorn's Botanical Magic, The Green Witch's Guide to Essential Oils. I mean, it's going to take you there, and it's just an amazing book. Again, why reinvent the wheel? Next up on my list is a book by Corine Boyer. I collect her books. I really love them. This one is The Witch's Cabinet, Plant Lore, Sorcery, and Folk Tradition. This book is so much fun. If you are interested in finding out about the lore, the ancient lore behind some of the herbs that are out there and how they were used, this book is going to be an excellent read for you. It's got some really nice illustrations in it, old wood carvings and such that are in here. This will bring you into a new way of understanding. Like here's the elder tree charm for second sight, elderberry mead. You know, it goes into plants and the second sight. It talks about the folklore behind second sight and what it means. So this book is for those of you who want to delve into the history and the folklore behind it. If you find yourself as a folk practitioner, The Witch's Cabinet by Corine Boyer. And again, her other books are amazing. And again, they're about the folklore behind the magical use of plants and herbs. Next up on my list is a book by Anne Mora. I love her tarot, by the way. And this is the Grimoire for the Green Witch. Okay, this book is so expansive. It's so good. It's everything that you would want your grimoire to be, and it's all. This book literally has it all. Okay, so it's got the first one is the Book of Shadows, which is all about the rituals, and they've got all different types of rituals, and it talks about them. And then the Book of Shadows on spells. And when we go through here, I mean, you've got the Wheel of the Year, you've got all about the different Sabbats and ritual components, craft names, names of the god and goddess, ritual colors, symbols and signs. Here's all the basic symbols and signs. Talks about preparing a magical container and supplies, basic tools, basic materials. You've got alphabets and different types of things on divination in here. You've got a little glossary of terms, which is quite extensive. You've got about, I'm just 46 pages in, and we're into casting the circle. I mean, if you're looking to learn about ritual and having ritual ideas and you want spell ideas, this book is just chock full of it. And it's got something for, you know, it's got rituals for different Sabbats, different ideas. This can be a great jumping off point for you. So again, you're not reinventing the wheel. You're just looking up what's already, you know, available to you. Now, do I like everything in here? No, I don't like everything in any book. But I think that you will find that this book will get you everything that you need. It's a basic grimoire, and you can take what you want out of here if you're so inclined to do so. Again, this is the Grimoire for the Green Witch by Anne Mora. Lastly, I want to talk about correspondence books. So I did highlight this one, the Book of Symbols and Signs, Secrets, Signs, and Symbols. Really love this. I have this book. I'm going to show it to you. And Llewellyn has so many of these correspondence books that are just, I mean, they're just huge books. And this one is the Complete Book of Correspondence by Llewellyn. And I have to tell you, I never use this book. I keep it because, well, it's this big book and maybe I'll need it someday, but I never use it, and I'll show you why. For me, there's just too much going on in here from too many different traditions. And I just find myself wondering, where the heck did they get this information from? It's just tables upon tables. And I shouldn't say that. I do use this every once in a while to look up different correspondences, because it'll have like the zodiac sign and so forth for a plant. But I gotta tell you, the best correspondences are the ones, obviously I use this one, are the ones that you get through personal gnosis, through working with it. Like, what does pink mean to you? What does orange mean to you? I had a tarot class, where someone said the color orange, they absolutely hate it. Like, it's like, they just don't like it. Well, orange is my favorite color, you know? So if I look in this book and it tells me that orange means X, but I hate orange and I'm trying to use that in my spell to create something, that's not very conducive. So I really feel like correspondences are something that you can try out. You can use one of these big books and you can see, well, yeah, that's great, that I could try that. And then again, mark it down in your Book of Shadows and see, how did it feel in that spell? How did that work for me when I was working with that color? Did it really evoke that for me? Because this is about your personal practice. And if you're making it about what someone else is doing, then you're constantly going to be either second guessing yourself or getting, I think it's going to be hit or miss. You could get just really mixed results because you're, again, you're not vibing with what those correspondences are. So I really encourage you to you know, maybe get something like this, take it with a grain of salt and experiment with it and use it. Again, I think something like this, because putting signs and symbols in to create your sigils or so forth and looking up what they mean around the world is really cool. But I don't think you need to get too hung up on what someone else says something means. When it comes to herbs, you want to know what the constituent properties of it are. You don't want to be eating something that could be poisonous for you. Those are the type of things that we look up and we trust other people. That's science. We trust that. But, you know, again, feeling your way into your own practice, finding your own personal gnosis, allowing yourself to take the journey, that is part of your magical path, is allowing yourself to find your way into your magic and what is meaningful to you. Hey there, if you made it to the end, do me a favor and leave me a book emoji below and then share with everyone if and how you grimoire and any tip you want to share.